In this class, we are going to discuss DC-DC converters. AC supply, generally we will be using the transformer for converting one level of voltage to another level of voltage. So similarly, in DC also, we need regulators or DC-DC converters for various applications in the power electronics. So generally, the DC-DC converters are of four types: buck converter, boost converter, buck boost converter, and cuck converter. So in this chapter, I am explaining three converters: buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converter. So you can call it as a regulator also. So in some textbooks, it has been mentioned like buck regulator, boost regulator, and buck boost regulator like that. I am using the nomenclature terminology as buck converter here. So while performing the analysis of these converters, we have to consider 2 points. That is, the selection of inductance value that should be such that the inductor current is made as continuous. So you need to select a value of inductor that should be made the inductor current as continuous current. Okay. And after that, another important condition in these converters are the net change in the inductor current in a complete cycle is zero. That means during turn on time and turn off time, there will be changes in the currents, but ultimately, after completing one complete cycle, the net change in the inductor current will be zero. That means before turn on time, how much amount of current is existing in the inductor, that will be existed after turn off time. So there will be no change in the inductor current in a particular complete cycle. So that is another condition. Okay. And every time we are going to calculate a switching frequency Fs, which is equal to 1 by complete time period. So the time period T is equal to the sum of turn on time plus turn off time. Okay. So turn on time and turn off time. The summation of turn on and turn off time is called the total time period T. Similarly, the duty cycle of a converter can be calculated as D is equal to turn on time divided by total time period. So you can write a duty cycle D is equal to turn on by turn on plus turn off. So that is nothing but the total time period. Simply you can write duty cycle D is equal to turn on by time period. Okay. So these are the important points that we have to remember before starting the converters. So first of all, I would like to explain the buck converter. So buck converter is called a step down regulator or step down converter. Therefore, it reduces the input DC voltage to a specified DC output voltage. Therefore, it is called as a buck regulator or buck converter. This converter steps down the voltage and steps up the current by keeping the power as constant. Okay, and the efficiency of this converter is somewhat high, that means more than 90%. And the various applications of these buck converters are like solar charging, battery charging, or SMP. In SMPS also we are using this kind of buck converters. So there is a circuit diagram for this buck converter which is shown as in the figure. It is having input voltage V in and switch S. We can use the switch, diode D, inductor L, capacitor C, and the resistor R, output resistor or load resistor R. This is the load I am taking here, R load, resistor load, and inductor and capacitor are used for filtering the ripples in output, and the diode D is used as a secondary switch, and the switch S is here primary switch. Actually, what is the use of the switch here? That means for turn on and turn off, one has to switch on and switch off the circuit. So during the switch on condition, you're calling it as a turn on. So during switch off condition, that means the switch is opened here, that is called turn off time. You can do turn on and turn off manually for a normal system. But when you are considering a power electronics, the turn on and turn off time will be very fast. That means the switching frequency of a particular switch is very, very less. You have to, for example, if you are taking switching frequency as 25 kilohertz, then what will be the time taken for turn on and turn off? Total time T is equal to 1 by Fs. Therefore, 1 by 25,000 hertz, little bit like 0.00004 seconds. So during that means in the 0.00004 seconds, you have to turn on and turn off the switches. So that much fast you have to make the turn on and turn off switching characteristics, switching effects. So that can be done by using the power electronics devices such as BJT, MOSFET, and IGBT. You can use any one of the power electronic devices for switching on and switching off of the circuit. Okay. So here I can use BJT, or I can use MOSFET, or I can use IGBT. If you are using BJT, bipolar junction transistor, you require an additional commutation circuit for turning off of the BJT. Therefore, the complication will be more in the circuit. That is the reason why I am using MOSFET here. MOSFET or IGBT, both are having the gate. So you can, by simply applying the gate pulses to the IGBT or MOSFET, you can simply turn off the circuit. Therefore, by using MOSFET and IGBT, it is very simple and easy. That is the reason why I am using MOSFET as a switch in this case. Okay. Therefore, the switch S is here MOSFET, and diode D is a diode which is acting like a turn on or on switch during forward bias and off switch during reverse bias. So the characteristic of this forward bias and reverse bias, I am using it as a switch, secondary switch. So that we'll explain in the circuit. Okay. So, and the property of the inductor and capacitor that we know very well. Inductor doesn't allow the sudden changes in the current, and capacitor doesn't allow the sudden changes in the voltages. Okay. It doesn't allow the sudden changes in the current, but it allows the changes in the currents. That means it takes a time constant, 5 time constant. Theoretically, it will be taking some time to settle, like it to reach the steady state. So practically, it is taking 5 time constants. After reaching to steady state, this inductor will be acting as a short circuit. Similarly, the capacitor will be taking some time constant, 5 time constants. After that, it will be reaching to steady state condition. Okay. So therefore, if you are using for the very first time, the inductor current in the circuit will be 0. But once if you turn on and turn off after completing one particular cycle or some time, then there will be some amount of minimum current will be existing, and the charging will be done from minimum to maximum, and the discharge will be done from maximum to minimum. Like that, it will be continued. Okay, so the selection of the inductance will be affecting the continuous current in the circuit. So that is the reason why in the first point we have discussed, selection of the inductance will give you the continuous current in the circuit. Okay, and the input voltage source is connected to a switch, and which is a power MOSFET. In general, the switches are used as BJT, MOSFET, on IGBT. BJT requires an additional commutation circuit to turn off, whereas the power MOSFET and IGBT can be turned off by a simple gate trigger. This we have discussed. The diode D can be used as a secondary switch, and the switch S and diode D are connected to load by using a low pass filter, inductor and capacitor, which reduces the voltage and current ripples. So in this circuit, the load is purely resistive load I have taken, and the input voltage is constant, and the current through the load is also a constant. Okay, by using pulse width modulation technique, the controller switch S, that means the power MOSFET, can be turned on and turned off. Here, the pulse width modulation technique is having 2 types of pulse width modulation. One is time-based pulse width modulation, and another one is frequency-based pulse width modulation. So frequency-based pulse width modulation leads to a complicated design for the low-pass LC filter, which is existing in the circuit. Therefore, we are taking here time-based pulse width modulation only. Okay, and there are 2 modes of operation for this buck converter. And the first mode of operation, the primary switch S is on and the diode D is off. So how it will be means, let us see here. When the switch is on, the input voltage will be connected to the circuit, and the current will be flowing from this negative terminal to positive terminal as it is a active element. Therefore, current will be flowing from this source to the switch and through the inductor, and the current will be divided here. Some part of the current will be flowing through the capacitor, and another part of the current is flowing through the resistance or load. Then again coming back to the source. So there exists a loop here. Okay, there exists a loop. So like this, the current will be flowing through the circuit. If you are applying KCL at this node, entering current is equal to leaving current. So when the switch is on, I am saying it as a turn on time. Then the time is starting from 0 to turn on. When the switch is closed, when the switch is opened, I am saying it as a turn off. Therefore, during turn on time, then that means that when the switch is closed, therefore the time will be from 0 to turn on. In that case, if you apply KCL here, entering current IL is equal to the leaving currents IC and I0. Therefore, IL is written as IC plus I0. Similarly, the source voltage Vs, if you apply KVL in this loop, the source voltage Vs is equal to the drop across the inductor VL plus the V0. So Vs can be written as VL plus V0, right? So in the buck converter, boost converter, any converter, in any converter, you have to calculate the capacitor current IC and the inductor voltage VL for calculation. So that means the capacitor and inductor, when they reach to steady state, you can calculate some parameters. For calculating capacitor current IC, we are using this KCL equation. IC is equal to IL minus I0, and to calculate the VL, we are using KVL. VL is equal to Vs minus V0. Okay, and for inductor, we know that we are using voltage second balance equation, and for capacitor we are calculating ampere second balance conditions. Okay, and during mode 2, switch is off when switch S is off. When switch S is off and the diode is on, how it will be, let us see. In the mode 2, when the switch is off, in off condition, this entire source is disconnected. This entire source is disconnected from the circuit. Therefore, the current will be flowing through these two loops only, because during turn on time, the inductor will be storing some amount of current, and once the source is disconnected from the circuit, now this inductor will be acting like a source. Therefore, it is changing its polarity from plus to minus to plus, because as it is acting as a active element or a source. Therefore, current will be flowing from this negative to positive, and it will be supplied to the load and as well as capacitor, and it will be coming back to inductor through the diode D. So if you apply KCL and KVL here also, you will get two equations. One is IL, entering current at this node, is equal to the leaving currents IC plus I0. Similarly, VL is equal to minus of V0. Because the polarities are different here, then VL is equal to minus of V0. There are two equations. One is IL is equal to IC plus I0, and VL is equal to minus V0. So this is in mode 2 operation, or switch S is off or diode D is on condition. And these are the waveforms for buck converter, and this is during turn on time, and this is during turn off time, the voltage we know. Okay, and the inductor current will be starting from minimum value to maximum value. This is called charging of the inductor. During turn on time, the inductor is charging. When the switch S is closed, then the charged current will be discharged through the load and capacitor. Therefore, the value of the inductor current will be drops from maximum value to minimum value up to the turn off time. Again, when the switch is on, again it will be charged from minimum value to maximum value, and in the turn off time, again it will be discharged from maximum value to minimum value to the load and capacitor values. And this is the diode current. During turn on, diode is in off condition, therefore the current flowing through the diode is 0, and during turn off, the diode will be allowing the inductor current which is discharging from maximum value to minimum value. Therefore, the waveform will be very similar to the inductor current during turn off time. Therefore, these two waveforms will be same. Again, during turn on time, the diode will be under off condition and there will be no current flowing through the diode. Therefore, it will be 0. Again, in the during turn off time, same inductor current will be flowing through the diode. Therefore, the waveform will be very similar in case of inductor current during turn off time. Similarly, the switch current or input current, this will be during turn on time only. And during turn off time, the switch is opened. Therefore, no current will be flowing through the switch. Therefore, the current flowing through the switch is 0 here. But whereas during turn on time, the inductor current will be flowing through the switch. Therefore, the waveform will be very similar to the charging period of an inductor. That means from minimum to maximum. Therefore, these two waveforms will be similar during turn on time and these two waveforms will be similar during turn off time. And this is the capacitor current which is flowing through the capacitor during turn on time and this is during turn off time. So here this capacitor current is starting from negative value. This is because as capacitor current can be calculated as IC is equal to IL minus of I naught, inductor current IL minus load current. Therefore, when you subtract I naught from total average inductor current, this is IL, and if you take average inductor current, IL average will be there. So to calculate IC, IL minus of I naught. So IL average current minus output current. Therefore, this value will be reaching to some negative value and it is touching the x-axis at this point and it is touching the y-axis at, x-axis at this point in the turn off time. Okay. So this is turn on and this is turn off and this point is exactly half of the turn on time. This point is exactly half of the turn on time. That means turn on by 2. Okay. So these are the waveforms of buck converter. These are the waveforms of buck converter. And for inductor, as I said, we have to calculate or we have to study the volt second balance equation. That means VL is equal to L into di by dt. So integration of this thing, integration of di is equal to 1 by L integration of VL into dt. For a stable operation, the charging of the inductor should be equal to the discharging of the inductor. That means the net voltage across inductor VL is equal to integration of VL dt is equal to 0. Therefore, the area under the voltage, area under the inductor voltage should be 0. Therefore, that inductor can be called as a inductor will be under stable condition. Similarly, for capacitor, ampere second balance is studied. C into dV by dt is equal to IC. So, capacitor current. Integration of this dV is equal to 1 by C into integration of IC dt. So for a stable operation, again, the charging of the inductor should be equal to the discharging of the inductor current. Therefore, integration of IC dt is equal to 0. That means area under the capacitor current should be 0. And what are the quantities that you have to calculate for a buck converter is average output voltage, V average. So for calculating this average output voltage, we have to use voltage second balance equation every time. For all the converters, for calculating average voltage, we have to use volt to second balance equation. Volt second balance equation is what here? Integration of VL dt is equal to 0. Just now we have studied volt second balance equation is integration of VL dt is equal to 0. This condition you have to take for calculating the average output voltage. And similarly, in ampere current is also used here in another calculation of this average inductor current, you have to use ampere current equation. Okay, so for calculating average output voltage, we have to take volt balance equation. That means integration of VL dt is equal to 0. For that, calculate the VL in both turn on and turn off times. We know the value of voltage at inductor VL is equal to Vs minus V naught. that is during turn on time. Similarly, voltage across inductor during turn off time is equal to minus of V naught. So volt second is nothing but voltage into second. Voltage into second during turn on plus voltage into second during turn off. That should be equal to 0. This is the meaning of this equation. Integration of all the voltage and second of an inductor is equal to 0. Integration of VL dt, volt second. Integration means what? During turn on to turn off. Therefore, during turn on, voltage across the inductor is Vs minus V naught into turn on plus during turn off the voltage is minus V naught into T minus Tn. This is called a turn off because total time period T is equal to turn on plus turn off. If you want to calculate turn off, T minus of Tn. Very simple equation this one. So T minus Tn is equal to 0. So multiply all the parameters here, expand this turn on and turn off time this here. Therefore, you will get a V naught is equal to Vs into turn on by total time period T. This we know the value it as duty cycle D. Duty cycle D can be defined as T on by total time period. Therefore, by substituting D here, V naught is equal to D into Vs. As the duty cycle is less than or equal to 1, therefore always the output voltage is less than the input voltage. Therefore, the converter is called buck converter or step down converter. As the output voltage is always less than the input voltage, this converter is called step down converter or buck converter. So for calculating the average voltage, what we are taking here, we are taking volt to second balance equation. That means voltage across the inductor during turn on time and voltage across the inductor during turn off time, and multiplying with the turn on and turn off times and calculating the average output voltage V naught, which is equal to Vs into D, where D is the duty cycle, can be defined as turn on by total time period T. As the duty cycle is lying between 0 and 1, hence the voltage across output V naught is always less than Vs. So this is for calculating the average output voltage. Similarly, for calculating average inductor current, I average, we have to take ampere second balance equation. So already we have discussed that when we talk about voltage second balance equation, calculating the voltage across inductor, and for ampere second balance equation, we have to calculate the capacitor current in both turn on and turn off times. So capacitor current during turn on time is IL minus I naught, and similarly capacitor current during turn off time is also similar to the turn on time, IL minus of I naught. So integration of this IC into dt is equal to 0. That means IL minus I naught into turn on plus IL minus I naught into T minus Tr, which is equal to 0. So take it as common and you will be having IL is equal to I naught. That means the total average inductor current IL is equal to the load current in the buck converter. So this is another expression for calculating the average inductor current. I average is equal to I naught, total output current I naught. And third, for all the converters, we are calculating these parameters: ripple in inductor current delta IL, ripple in inductor current delta IL. IL is equal to, that means the ripple in the inductor current IL is equal to maximum value to minimum value. This is from turn on time to turn off time, and this is in the turn on time, and ripple in the turn off time is again minimum value to maximum value. So this is a starting and this is ending point, and this is a starting and this is ending point during turn on and turn off time respectively. How can you calculate the ripple in inductor current means? Similarly, same we have to take VL inductor voltage across the inductor VL is equal to Vs minus of V naught. This is during turn on time that we know, and VL is equal to minus V naught, that is during turn off time. So this is called charging time of the inductor, and this is called the discharging time of the inductor. Okay, now so for stable operation, charging should be equal to the discharging of the inductor. So for calculating the ripple in inductor, either you can consider charging condition or you can consider the discharging condition. By using these two conditions, you can find the ripples in the inductor current. So in this case, I am taking the charging time of the inductor during turn on time. That means 0 to T on. What is the voltage across the inductor? VL is equal to L into DIL by dt. Here, L is as it is, and change in the current. That means we have to calculate the ripple in the inductor current. So I am taking it as delta IL, change in the inductor current delta IL divided by time. The time is nothing but here turn on time, because if I want to take this turn on time duration, charging condition, this is called the turn on time and this is called the turn off time. Okay. So change in the inductor current from minimum to maximum, I am calling it as delta IL. Change is represented with delta, current I and inductor current. So I am mentioning like delta IL, and the time is here turn on time. Okay. So that is the reason why the expression is like this. L into delta IL by turn on is equal to VL. What is the voltage across inductor during turn on time? It is Vs minus V0. So simply substituting Vs minus V0 here, then this equation will become now L into delta IL by T on is equal to Vs minus V0. From this equation, write for delta IL, which is equal to Vs minus V0 divided by L into turn on. Okay. So we know that output voltage V0, which is equal to D into Vs. Already we have calculated as average output voltage V0 is equal to D into Vs. So substitute V0 as D into Vs, and the turn on time can be represented as D into T. As duty cycle D is equal to turn on by T, therefore turn on can be written as D into T. So this equation will become now delta IL is equal to, take common D into 1 minus D into Vs divided by, this T will become now 1 by F. So I am writing this T as 1 by F because time period T is equal to 1 by switching frequency F. So I am writing D as 1 by F into L. Therefore, the ripple in the current inductor current delta IL can be written as D into 1 minus D into Vs by F into L. As we know that the changes in the current, inductor current, or the changes in the inductor current or ripple current is a function of the duty cycle. Therefore, uh, differentiate this inductor, differentiate this ripple current with respect to duty cycle and made it to 0, then you will get the maximum or minimum value of the duty cycle. Therefore, by differentiating this entire equation with respect to duty cycle D and equating to 0, we will get here D into D minus D square divided by D into D. So this is called differentiation. Differentiation D into D minus D square divided by differentiation with respect to D, which is equal to 0. Ultimately, you will get duty cycle D is equal to 0.5. Simply by substituting this duty cycle value in this equation, you will get the final value of the ripple current in the inductor. So substitute value of D in this equation, we will get a ripple current delta IL is equal to Vs by 4F into L. So this D is 0.5 and 1 minus 0.5 is equal to 0.5. 0.5 into 0.5, you have to multiply this one. Okay, so this is nothing but you can write it as 1 by 4 here. Therefore, this will become Vs by 4 into FL. 0.5 into 0.5 is nothing but 0.25, which is equal to 1 by 4. Therefore, we are writing the ripple current delta IL is equal to Vs by 4 into F into L. So you can calculate the ripple current by taking discharging time also. When in the time, it can be written as L into delta IL divided by turn off is equal to minus of V0. The equation will change it as L into delta IL by turn off is equal to minus V0 when you consider discharging time of the inductor. Then also you will get the same expression. So this is the changes in the ripple current delta IL is equal to Vs by 4 into FL. And the ripple in the output voltage, changes in the output voltage, ripple in the output voltage delta V. So for calculating this ripple in the output voltage, you have to take capacitor current IC is equal to IL minus I0, IL minus I0. we know the inductor current IC, we know the inductor current IL, which is starting from minimum to maximum and again maximum to minimum. This is during turn off time and this is during turn on time. Therefore, the changes in the current will be delta L. The ripple in the current will be delta L. Okay, this is the delta L. This is the changes in the ripple current is delta L, minimum to maximum. This is a ripple. Okay, this is the average current I naught. This is the average current. If you want to calculate IC, which is equal to IL minus of I naught, and this is the IL current and this is the I naught current, substituting this I naught from IL, you will get IC current, and this will be starting from negative value to maximum value and again maximum to negative value. And this, it is touching the 2 points on x-axis A and B. So this is exactly half of the turn on time. Point A is touching at half of the turn on time. It can be written as T on by 2. And the point B will be now here. This is the complete time period. This is the complete time period T, total time period T here. Okay, now therefore the point B can be calculated as T minus T on by 2. So complete T minus T on by 2 plus this turn on time. This is a complete time period T, complete time period T. Okay, and point B will be, this is called T minus T on. This is called T minus T on. That means this is a turn off time. Exactly half of the turn off time. This also. That means T minus T on divided by 2 plus this turn on time. The point will be located at this turn on time T on plus T minus T on by 2. So this is the point B location. Though the point B location can be calculated as B is equal to T plus T on by 2. So if you simplify this equation, you get T plus T on by 2. So from this graph, point A and point B are calculated like this. And it is clear that from point A to B, the inductor current is positive. This case, from point A to B, the inductor current is positive. Therefore, the IC is greater than 0. C into dVC by dt is greater than 0. And therefore, VC is greater than 0. That means in this case, the capacitor is called as charging. And the charging time is, the capacitor charging time is from A to B. Okay. The time T, charging time is equal to T plus T on minus by 2 minus T on by 2. Okay. And half of the total time period. The total time period is half of the total time period. During charging, the voltage will be vary from minimum to maximum. Therefore, C into, the equation is here, C into dV by dt is equal to IC. Therefore, dV by dt, changes in the voltage is from maximum to minimum and half of the time period T by 2, which is equal to IC is equal to IL minus of I naught. So this is called changes in the voltage delta V, which is equal to IL minus I naught into T by 2 divided by C. Or area under the current, which is equal to charge of the capacitor. This is another method of calculating voltage ripple in the circuit. That means the area under the current is nothing but the charge Q. This is called charge Q. Area under the capacitor is charge Q. Therefore, the area under the current is equal to charge Q, which can be written as 1 by 2 into delta IL by 2 into T by 2. Half L into B. So area under the charge means it is a triangular waveform. It is a triangular waveform. This is a triangular waveform. So half L into B. So half L is nothing but T by 2 and B is nothing but delta IL it is. This is delta IL, which is the height. B into H, half B into H. So base is T by 2 and H is delta IL by 2. So the charge will be now here. Delta Q is equal to half. This is a base delta, this is a base T by 2 and this is the height delta L divided by 2. So therefore delta Q will be now here delta IL by, when you write T as F here, then this will become 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 2, 8. This T will become F here. So delta Q is equal to delta IL by 8F and delta V is equal to delta Q by C. delta Q is here, delta IL divided by 8 FC. So this is a voltage ripple in the circuit. And after that, average switch current, this can be calculated as during turn on time, the switch current is IL. So average switch current is equal to IL average only. And IL average is nothing but IL into turn on by time, total time period T. Therefore, it will be D into IL, or IL we know that it is I naught. So average switch current is equal to D into I naught. So I naught can be calculated as V naught by R in case of R and RL loads, and I naught can be calculated as V naught minus E divided by R in case of RL and RLE loads. Similarly, average diode current, this is also I am taking during turn on time. Average diode current ID is equal to IL. Average diode current I is equal to IL average. IL average, this is the diode is allowing the current during turn off time only. So therefore T minus T on divided by T. Now this will become 1 minus D into IL. Therefore average diode current can be written as 1 minus D into I naught. Similarly, I naught can be calculated as V naught by R in case of RL load, R load and R or RL load, and RLE load it is V naught minus E by R. So boundaries of continuous and discontinuous condition. That means in terms of inductor current, boundary conditions are taken from 0 to maximum and complete charging and complete discharging. That means earlier case we have taken it as from minimum to maximum. That means some amount of current is existing in the inductor. But when you calculate the boundaries of continuous and discontinuous currents, you have to start from the zero only. So that means the minimum current will be, you have to take it as zero, and the maximum current is somewhat current is existing at the boundary condition. Therefore, I maximum and I minimum you have to calculate as from 0 to some I max current. Therefore, I max is equal to IL plus delta IL by 2. So this is IL current, and I maximum is equal to IL plus delta IL by 2. And I minimum is equal to, this is IL current, IL minus of delta IL by 2. So from this graph, it is clear that I maximum and I minimum values are calculated as IL minus delta IL by 2 as minimum value, and IL plus delta IL by 2 as maximum value. So from the graph, already to calculate the boundary values, we have to consider minimum value as 0. Therefore, I minimum value I am taking it as 0. Then it can be written as 0 is equal to IL minus delta IL by 2. And we know that IL is also equal to load current or output current, in this case buck converter. Therefore, I am writing I naught is equal to delta IL by 2. But we know the value of delta IL, which is equal to D into 1 minus D into Vs divided by FL. So simply substituting the value of delta IL here, then this equation will become now I naught is equal to D into 1 minus D into Vs by 2 into FL. And here I naught is equal to V naught by R, which is equal to D into Vs by R, which is equal to D into 1 minus D into Vs by 2FL. From this equation, you can calculate the value of L, critical value of inductor. L critical is equal to 1 minus D into R divided by 2F. So this is the value of calculating inductor value. And critical capacitance also calculated from V minimum and V maximum values. So as we have calculated critical inductor value, the same value will be considered here. V minimum is taken as 0. Therefore, V minimum is equal to V naught minus delta V naught by 2, which is equal to V naught is equal to delta V naught by 2. And we know that delta V naught value already calculated, and V naught is equal to D into Vs. Substitute the values here. From this, calculate the value of capacitor C critical is equal to 1 minus D by 16 into F square into L. Okay. So if you want to calculate critical capacitance, if you substitute the critical inductance value here, then it will become 1 by 8 into F into R. So this is regarding buck converter. A simple buck converter is having these parameters.